From the nation's federal capital city, Abuja, I am Adegboyega Arogbodo, and this is Abuja Dispatch, a platform specially created to relieve to your living rooms those events and issues which have shaped the thought of many in the outgoing week. Let's start off today's episode by looking at those stories that made up our news headlines in the last 7 days.
President Bola Tinubu has asked senior civil servants to rededicate themselves to their duties and work towards improving the lives of Nigerians by acting with dispatch on matters that border on the welfare of citizens. The president, who met with the head of service, body of permanent secretaries, and some directors general of agencies at the State House, said policies impacting the welfare of the people and the economy must be treated with urgency, diligence, and a strong sense of duty. Members of the Nigerian Senate have unanimously kicked against plans to increase electricity tariff, describing the move as retrogressive and ill-timed. The upper chamber also mandated its Committee on Power to investigate the over 2 trillion naira subsidy requirement as alleged by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu. After a robust debate on a motion by Senator representing Adamawa Central, Iya Abbas, at Wednesday's plenary, the lawmakers urged the federal government to immediately stand down the idea of an increase in electricity tariff in the country. And government at all levels and Nigerians across the walks of life have been called upon to see to the needs of the aged ones in society. This view was emphasized during a visit of a group of women in ministry of the RCCG, the Master's Place ABUJA, to the elderly home in Kado as part of activities marking their annual Women in Ministry conference. The group expressed regrets that having given their physical and mental energies to serve the nation, most senior citizens are easily forgotten as most of them slip into penury with no hope. The women further encouraged the women folk to seek care for the elderly as a godly ministry which must be fulfilled. A home for the elderly is a facility that offers housing and assistance with activities of daily living and also provides an opportunity for residents to make friends while receiving help from caregivers.
Welcome back. The organized labor has threatened to go on a peaceful protest over the present economic realities in the country. To be or not to be, that is the question. This is the thrust of our discourse tonight on Split Views. Watch out. Welcome to the Split Views segments of our program, Abuja Dispatch. And on Split Views tonight, we have with us a media activist and a comrade, as it were, Comrade John Bosco Agbakuru. You're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's start. What do you think is the state of the government-labor relations as at now, with this present dispensation?
This is a very tricky question. Tricky in the sense that we know the process, the role the labor unions played during the 2023, February 25, 2023 election. And after the election, the relationship has not been so cordial. Labor supported its party. Labor has Labor Party. And there is this impression or this notion worldwide now, labor movements want to control countries. And in so many countries, you have labor being in charge of governance. And I think labor movements in Nigeria, tried it. But unfortunately, they didn't succeed. So because of that, it appears that there is a crack in the relationship, between labor and government. But don't forget that the president of Nigerian Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero, is a Lagos guy. He has been close to the president Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But because of that election, there is a little crack, a little frosty relationship. And that has also affected labor struggle in the country. Because anything they do, it will be tagged as if they are doing Labour Party, bidding.
Yeah, because of the increase in popularity of the Labour Party in the country. So there is this, they don't really, the Labour movement seems to be, in between now.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's really affecting the struggle in the country because even if they are doing a genuine struggle, assuming there is a genuine struggle, and it's not every struggle that government will be comfortable with, but because that struggle is genuine, but it's against government may target as doing Labour Party bidding. So it's the problem now in the country when it comes to labor struggle and labor agitation.
Now let's look at the present state of Nigerian workers. Many people have been saying that, well, the labor, like rightly said, is not really decisive in certain areas of their relations with the government. But the Nigerian workers are now seems to be at the the receiving end. As it were, what do you think should be the real agitation of the labor movement in the country now?
Well, when you look at the situation in the country, it's very precarious, especially economy, and it's affecting workers. It's affecting workers. But from my introduction, I've told you that it appears that there's no love lost between the labor movement, especially the leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress under the leadership of Comrade Joe Ajaero and the presidency. Just for one fact, one point, their involvement in the last general election. However, you see, there is inflation in the country. Already the minimum wage being paid. The last pan expires in the next few weeks. That 1st March, that'll be the end of that minimum wage because it's a constitutional matter. So it is expected that by April 1, a new minimum wage will be enforced. So I think the labor movement should come together, and those handling the government affairs should also know that elections are over. We are into governance. And globally, the economy is bad, globally. Even though there are some policies in different countries that may escalate whatever problem they have. So I think what they should do now is that government should ensure that no matter whatever misgivings they have, against the current leadership of, especially Nigerian Labour Congress. I don't think government has much problem with trade union Congress. No matter whatever misgivings, they should make sure that they come together because it's for the collective interest of the country. Because when the workers are happy, they put in their best. But the environment in which they are working now is very hostile. As a result of this economic situation, people have found themselves. It's very hostile.
Now, recently a tripartite committee was inaugurated by the federal government, to look at the modalities concerning the national minimum wage. Now, what do you think should be the collective bargaining, the trust of the collective bargaining when their meetings are going on?
It's going to be tough. The meeting will be tough. Tough in the sense that labor will consider all the indices. Look at the inflation in the country, cost of goods and services, and for instance, recently, Congress president insinuated that they may, not that they have fixed it, that they may demand up to 1 million naira. He insinuated. He was now looking at
1 million naira.
1 million
A worker.
Yes.
As minimum wage.
Yes. He was not looking at it from the standpoint of the inflation, cost of living, transportation. Now, when you look at all these indices, look at the inflation in the country, you discover that even what the Congress president said, may not even be enough. But then again, the thing may cause problem. The inflation may go higher, assuming such amount of money is paid. So what I'm expecting is the committees, that's the public sector, the labor movement and government, we look at a middle ground, where what government can afford. Because even in collective bargaining, the ability to pay is always there.
Not to be considered.
The ability to pay is always there, because you cannot agree to pay something you know that is not affordable. And that's one of the problems we have. And that's one of the reasons you discover that most times government will enter into agreement with labor unions, but be unable to implement the problems. Because maybe at a particular point in time, they are under duress to ensure that the labor, assuming they're on strike, suspend the strike. So they may listen to labor, hearken to whatever demands they make. And towards the end, they will now discover that the implementation will be a problem. And that's one of the reasons that you see crisis here and there, strike here and there. So in effect, they will put all these indices, they will bring them together, and to arrive at a particular. Initially, I remember some months ago, current President George was saying about $200. $200. Yes, $200. When you look at the government, the people in government now have dollarized the economy. That's the problem. It's one of the yes, that's one of the problems we have. Go to some places now, everything is in dollar. And some of these government officials, see them, they don't even carry Nigerian naira. And I think a law should be made that anybody, no matter how highly placed, that does not, carry our national currency, displaying all these foreign currencies, should be arrested. That's one of the reasons that, even dollar is, you see the price, how much it is now. So in effect, that's the summary of everything, is that the tripartite committee, which comprises the government, federal government, the labor movement, and the private sector, we'll look at all these indices, but there will be problem for the side of private sector. Private sector, some of them don't have subvention. Either they will now decide to downsize because they may be unable to pay, or there will be problems.
Even the minimum wage of 30,000 naira, some states are not paying, as it were, even as it's today. So if that is increased, what is the possibility of the new range now being abided to by all the parties concerned?
I think it is criminal for especially governors not to pay minimum wage. The problem we have is that we try to do things that are outside the law. Minimum wage is a matter of law. And then you look at them, look at some of the things they do. Sometimes they embark on a project that make no meaning, that don't even impact on common Nigerians. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. So I don't think that they have any reason not to pay the minimum wage. But because they themselves, some of them, the process that brought them, they were not prepared.
Now, the labor movement is planning to go on, peaceful protest, I think, very soon. That's concerning the present hardship, economic problems in the country. Are you sure? Are you on the same page with them, or you think that that wouldn't really yield much results? Because their protests would that now make the economy to change, or of what effect do you think that will really be?
Do you know the problem we have? The problem is that successive administrations don't keep to promises or agreements they freely entered into with labor. Apart from hardship, there are other agreements entered into with labor. Is government keeping to those agreements? Definitely no. So it's not only the economic hardship. If it's only the economic hardship, it's not only Nigeria that is facing economic hardship. That's the truth. And labor should understand that. There are other countries that are also facing the same problem. But do we get our priorities right? We don't. So I think strike, yes, that's the last option. When government fails to, do what it's supposed to do. That's the last option. And sometimes you discover that our own country, when you look at previous administrations, the only language they understand well is strike. When you paralyze the economy, they don't know how much they are losing. When they go on strike, you know how much you are losing on a daily basis. That's the time you now begin to wake up to call them, let us discuss. And you enter into agreement, you'll not be able to fulfill. So I think, if you ask me, my personal opinion, the strike is The labor is being compelled to go on strike.
It's a peaceful protest.
What I call it peaceful protest, they are not going to work on that day. Okay, for instance, now even there is another problem, a protest that may take effect even before the NLC protest. Federal government, Mr. President generously granted amnesty to to university workers that were on strike. ASU was on strike for about 8 months from February 14, 2022 to around August. National Association of Academic Technologists joined around March or April. Likewise, Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Universities and Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Institutional Organizations. That's NASU. Now, towards the end, the core of the strike, when there was an understanding between them and government, the previous administration took them to court, invoked the policy of no work, no pay. At industrial courts, federal government won the case. But Mr. President Tinubu, when he came in, maybe he wanted a situation that is that good relationship between him and the university workers. Decided to grant amnesty for 4 months. ASU is claiming 8 months. SANU is claiming 4 months. And NAT is claiming about 4 or 5 months. Now, he granted amnesty. But the problem now is this. The amnesty was supposed to be for all the 4 university-based unions. But unfortunately, as at weekend, last week, it's only ASU that has been paid. Some part of it, because information available is that they were paid for 2 months. SANU, NASU, NAT, nothing for them. And some of them are now calling for emergency NEC meeting for them to protest. And they have threatened to disrupt academic activities in universities. These are some of the problems we have. If Mr. President has granted amnesty, the implementers of this decision or directive, why are they doing selective implementation? Are you getting me? They are doing selective implementation. Why are you excluding these people?
But I put it to you that the body language of the present government has been positive when it comes to labor relations. One of the promises of Mr. President on the electoral podiums was that, when it comes to university environment, there won't be any industrial issues. And which I believe he has been sustaining. And even when coming to this issue of tripartite committee setup, it's quite commendable by some sectors of the society that the government is really proactive this time around, not reactive as it were. Don't you think so?
And when you come to a tripartite committee, the government has no option. It's a constitutional matter. It is the responsibility of the government. In fact, the tripartite committee was not set up as at the time it was expected. I told you that the last span of this current minimum wage is March 31. By April 1, we are supposed to have a new minimum wage. Now, the issue of tertiary institutions, let there be harmony, let there not be crisis. Now they entered into agreement with government. Yeah, I commend the president, for granting that amnesty. Because ordinarily, the industrial court had ruled no work on no work, no pay. But the president, having that human feeling, decided to grant the amnesty. Good and fine. But having granted the amnesty, the problem now is, why are those implementing it, being selective?
This discussion will always be a continuous one. So I believe anytime we call you again, you will surely respond, I think.
We are for the masses.
A media guru and media activist, Mr. John Bosco Agbakuru, has been our guest tonight on Split Views. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Street Talk segment on ABUJA Dispatch. This week, we'll take a look at tackling insecurity. Is creation of state police the solution? The level of insecurity has reignited the long-standing call for state police. Crime has become more sophisticated with kidnappings for ransom, killings, cultism, cyber crimes, and so many other vices. I am Ayodele Ibrahim. Let's speak to Nigerians and hear their views. Stay tuned.
I think it's a welcome development We have been expecting the federal government to take this decision for quite a very long time. It's long overdue. You see, when you decentralize policing, it is going to be very, very, very effective, so to say. Why we are having problem of or recurring problem of insecurity is because the police, the structure of the Nigerian police as it is today, is not capable of policing the entire country. That is just the true situation. When you decentralize, the state police will do a whole lot to complement the effort of the Nigerian police. We are not saying create the state police and stop the operation of the national police. The national police should also remain. They should coexist with the state police.
Not to create police, state police, but let them be equipped. Yeah, and let them select the best among the best. You know, you can't just say maybe you are creating a police, you just bring everybody. But you have to get people that are very competent and maybe through their village head, you know, they kind of distance, they can be able to select.
Tackling insecurity is all about getting people involved, engaged in having something doing. When people are unemployed, there must be security problems. State policing is not going to solve our problems because they are going to be under the supervision of state governors. And I don't see it as the means of tackling insecurity. How we can be able to tackle insecurity, by my own opinion, is getting people engaged, as in give people job opportunity, tackle corruptions, and create an enabling environment for people to do their business.
State policing is one of the best things to happen to Nigeria presently. When you go to advanced world, America, US as a case study, every state in America has its own state police. So if you commit a crime in, let's say, Texas, and you run somewhere else, there will be people that will track you down and say he has committed a crime in this state. So I think it is good, state policing and community policing.
If the governor, if anything, any problem at all, the people in charge, the governor can give directive to tackle that particular crisis or any problem at all. But the disadvantage of the state police is that at the end, you see that some people are using them to achieve what they want to achieve. But if it's the federal will not allow that. Before you can get to that top, it will be difficult. But it will be easy now to get people within them. And again, if you are doing the maybe employment or something, recruitment, they will not have upper hand to put whoever they want to put.
Because most of the crime that happens, especially now in the northern part, all this kidnapping and banditry, they are living within the communities. So with the state police security can able to reduce some percentage of the crime within the area. It will help those, even the police in the headquarters, to liaise with this state security police to solve the problem.
Stakeholders and security experts have expressed concerns over the need for state police. However, they stated that engaging more Nigerians through community police scheme would create another level of employment generation, while they also meet their constitutional responsibility of protecting the lives of citizens and their properties. They would also ensure peace and tranquility within the states. You can connect with us on all our social media platforms at Lagos Television and at LTV Socials. I am Ayodele Ibrahim. The conversation continues on Abuja Dispatch. Stay tuned.
This bill should not only be supported to scale second reading, the Southwest Development Commission may bear the title Southwest, but indeed it's for Nigerians as a whole. There's hardly any part of the country that does not have an ambassador, so to say, in Southwest. Because Southwest is not only accommodating, it houses the fifth largest economy in Africa in Lagos, and the most important business roads in Nigeria crisscross Southwest. I therefore will urge the distinguished senators to support this initiative that will bring development closer to the people of Southwest, enhance the economy of Nigeria, deepen the unity and cohesiveness of our country, and accelerate the development strides of Southwest.
Thank you for sharing your precious moment with us tonight on Abuja Dispatch. A week from now, we'll bring you another refreshing episode. Same time, same station. Adegboyega Arogbodo is my name. Have a good night.